So I started work on this new game, and I started working out the mechanics and the visuals, and without even thinking about it, I set the whole thing in a Tolkien-esque fantasy world. My brain just defaulted to that setting because it was safe and familiar, and it's been done to death. There is literally nothing that couldn't be shoehorned into this world. My advice? Let's get out of Middle-earth. Time to do some crop rotation, let this ground settle for a while, and go explore some new territories. I've made a list. Let's start with the most common ones first, which means that Tolkien-esque fantasy world tops this list at number 1. If you have a single suit of armor, you are at risk of using this world. It's easy, but it's getting tired. Let's try to resist it. Number 2, I would put the sci-fi fantasy future with the human army versus the bug-like aliens. Here's the short list. Starship Troopers, Halo, StarCraft, XCOM, Laser Squad Nemesis, Aliens, Predator. I think it's safe to say that this is well-tread territory. Number 3, I'm going to put the post-apocalyptic / zombie world. I'm going to wrap everything from Left 4 Dead to Fallout and Mad Max in this one. This was a contender for number 2, but maybe that's just because I'm getting tired of it. Number 4, I'd say, goes to the steampunk alternative path, but I gotta tread lightly on this one. A little bit of technology too advanced for the era of the story does not a setting make. Oftentimes that thing can drive a story really well, but there comes a point where the fantastic technology takes over and becomes all the audience sees. Any of the following historical settings can either be seasoned with this sort of thing or taken over with it. You have to be careful. So now we get to the settings inspired by historical places and times. This list can get pretty long. I'm just going to break down a couple here. For number 5 on the list, I'm going to go with Victorian Europe, covering anything from Shakespeare and Jane Austen to Transylvania. There is a wealth of folklore and fairy tales to draw from. Banshees, Loch Ness Monsters, Baba Yaga, Dracula, all of them fair game. Number 6, the Old West, cowboys and Indians, frontier towns, guns, horses, and saloons. You can go campy like the Lone Ranger or serious and gritty like spaghetti westerns. Honestly though, I'm getting tired of the grit. Number 7, I'm putting the ancient East, including feudal Japan, China, Mongolia, all those in that region. You've got samurais, ninjas, Attila the Hun, beautiful scenery, horses, arrows, gunpowder, cannons. Just promise me you'll do a little bit of research and try not to let your Western ignorance show when using this setting, okay? For number 8, I'm going to lump the Middle East and India together. Kind of a stretch putting India in this group, but for the most part, you put a turban on your main character and you're there. Please follow the link in the description and read the extended text on this one before hating on me, okay? I'm really not that culturally insensitive. Moving on. Number 9, pirates. Yar! Sail the high seas, swashbuckle and pillage, rum and doubloons. There's some real possibility for some cross-cultural storytelling, or you could just keep to the high seas and scuttle the ships of the Royal Navy if you don't want to deal with that. Either way. Number 10, ancient Rome or Greece. Centaurs, mermaids, gods on Olympus, gladiators, chariot races, cyclopses, minotaurs, labyrinths, harpies, Pompeii, the Iliad and the Odyssey, a whole very stylish world to explore. Just promise me you'll put a little bit of color in it. I know it's all white marble now, but they were painted once. Number 14, let's break away from Earth and blast off! How about a sci-fi future as imagined by the early 1900s? Spaceships with huge fins, scantily clad space vixens, planet-eating space squids, big blocky space robots, heroes like Flash Gordon and Buck Rogers. You can really have fun with this one. And finally, number 15, how about you just go abstract? Do we really need settings and stories when you can have colors and lines? Isn't playing motivation enough? There's no shortage of games using this style, but I don't think it'll ever get old. So there you go, a whole list of new ideas that can get us out of the dark ages, both figuratively and literally. I'm not willing to call this list definitive though. Maybe you have an idea that I didn't mention,